Hi, my name is David Walker and I teach science at Lhasa High School, a public magnet school in Austin, Texas. I created this lab activity with Dr. Rose Corey, who's a professor at the University of Michigan. And I worked with Dr. Corey and her team in the Alaskan Arctic during summer 2019. Dr. Corey's research concerns the role of sunlight in the photooxidation of dissolved organic carbon as released into Arctic rivers and streams by thawing permafrost. And this dissolved organic carbon is converted into carbon dioxide, and she investigates the role of sunlight in doing that. Her experimental results indicate that sunlight and bacteria are not working separately, but rather in a concerted fashion, a synergistic fashion, to oxidize dissolved organic carbon in the Arctic. In other words, sunlight during Arctic summers is playing a primary role in the permafrost positive feedback loop, which is resulting in the amplification of climate change, not only in Arctic regions, but globally. Our goal for this activity was to design something for students that mimicked this, sort of an effective laboratory analogy for this process. Dr. Corey and her colleagues often referred to the extracting of dissolved organic carbon from permafrost for use in experimentation as the brewing of permafrost tea. So we immediately thought that would be a pretty cool analogy for students to experiment with. We thought students could use solid tea to mimic permafrost samples, and they could, of course, conduct a solid liquid extraction in water, basically brewing a strong cup of tea to yield aqueous dissolved organic carbon. This would be analogous to an Arctic stream rich in dissolved organic carbon. And then students could expose these tea samples to natural sunlight and or artificial light from like a grow bulb in a teacher's classroom or even at their homes to test for photooxidation of samples. And we thought students could use spectrophotometry to quantify the degree of photooxidation, the degree of photobleaching, because the more a sample is photobleached, it loses its color progressively, and this can be analyzed via spectrophotometry and Beer's law. And we had grounds to think that this would work, as Jason Dobkowski, who's a member of the research team up at Toolik Field Station in the Arctic, had conducted prior experimentation which illustrated that you can get observable photooxidation, observable color change in samples. And he specifically was experimenting with different soft drink samples. You can get observable color change when you expose those samples to sunlight for as little as 48 hours. So the activity we've made provides students with a wide variety of learning opportunities. Organic chemistry students, the students I teach, they can investigate how molecular orbital theory can be used to explain why certain organic compounds can exhibit color in the first place, and also why photooxidation results in loss of that color. General chemistry students can practice creating standard absorption curves and analyze sample absorbance versus concentration using Beer's law. Environmental science students are provided with a laboratory setting and laboratory data to illustrate how melting permafrost and sunlight directly contribute to Arctic amplification of climate change. The end goal here really is to expose science students in general to the climate crisis and to increase student awareness of the climate crisis. And lastly, to really reinforce the critical value of research science happening in the Arctic. So please read below about this activity. Reach out if you have any questions. I hope it's something that you can use if you're a teacher in your classroom.